we'll get started. Thank you very much for coming this morning. You can get yourself into a comfortable position. Just cross your legs in for a moment and close your eyes. You're going to roll your shoulders down and back so that the shoulder blades kind of hug alongside of your spine, drawing down towards the hips. Take a few slow breaths in and out through your nose. And just allowing yourself to be here in this space for the next 30 minutes. Let's slowly start to roll the shoulders backwards. And then roll them forwards. And now let's inhale and shrug the shoulders up towards your ears. And exhale, release them back down. Lean forward, so hands are on the knees. You're going to lean forward and then lift the base and lift the heart. And then as you exhale, you're going to round the spine, leaning back, tucking the chin in. Inhale, leaning forward, lifting the face, lifting the heart, and exhale, rounding the spine, leaning back, tuck the chin. Inhale forward, and exhale back. So just loosening up through the hips, through the spine. We'll keep going like this for a moment. Noticing if there are any areas that are stiff or sore this morning. And as always, I'd like you to listen to your body. So if there is something that is giving you trouble, or if you're stiff or sore, you want to make sure that you respect that and change the poses so that they suit your body where you are today. So let's come back into the center. And as you exhale, make a slow twist to the left, bringing that right hand to the knee, the left hand behind you. You can stay up on the fingertips, and you want to lift up through the top of the head. The back of the neck should feel long, and then just look back gently over the shoulder. Keeping that breath down into your belly. Take one more breath here. As you exhale, we're going to turn all the way over to the other side. So staying tall, left hand to the knee, right hand behind you, and sit up nice and straight, looking out over that shoulder, a couple breaths into the belly. And as you exhale, let's release back to the center. You're going to draw the knees together and bring both feet over towards the floor on the right. So your knees are going to kind of stack together, feet are going to kind of stack, and this right hip is off the floor. Left hip is touching. Just lay the right hand on top and the left hand comes up overhead. Now lift up, lengthening through the spine, and slowly lean to the right. So you're lengthening out through that whole left side of the body, through the rib cage, down into that left side of the hip. Just kind of feel that opening through the hip. And then we're going to release the hand back down. Bring your knees and your feet all the way over to the other side. So you're up on that left hip now. The feet are stacked over on the right. And just lay your left hand on top. The right hand comes up overhead, and you want to lift up, lengthening through the side of the body, lengthening through the spine, and then lean to the left. So feeling that down through that whole right side now, the rib cage, and into the hip. And slowly release, bring your hand down, and then let's bring the knees up in front with your feet. Toes are going to point away from you. So you're going to bring your hands back just behind your hips, and the fingers are facing your toes. Let's shift the hips towards your heels. So hips are down on the ground, close to the heels. And you're going to bend your elbows so that they go to the back of you. So instead of out to the side, let's throw them to the back. Just bend a little bit here. And then you're going to lift the heart. And if you'd like, you can lift the face, or you can keep looking forward. So just stretching out through the shoulders, through the shoulder blades, And sometimes it helps if you imagine squeezing your shoulder blades together in the back, and it just gives a little bit of a different release through the muscles. Take one more breath in here. And then as you exhale, you're going to release the feet a little bit forward, release your upper body forward, and hug the knees, hug the shins, tuck the chin, and bring your forehead towards the knees. And then slowly release back up to that seated position. You can bring your legs out and give them a little shake. Let's space that left leg out, fold the right leg in, and you should be on both of your sitting bones here, and you want to straighten out this leg by pulling those toes back towards your face so that the leg feels long on the bottom. You're going to just turn your upper body towards that left leg. So make sure that you're comfortable, not too far stretched out or anything. And you're going to lean forward with your heart, kind of with a straight back here, so that you just move a little tiny bit until you feel the resistance. Then we're going to soften the spine and round the shoulders, kind of melting down over that leg. You can either reach your hands towards your feet or tuck them underneath the knee. That'll release a little bit of pressure if there's any tightness through the hamstrings or the hips or the lower back. Slowly come up off of that side. And now we're going to turn to this right knee, the one that's bent in, and sit up tall here. Bring your hands down to the side and just slowly lean in towards that leg. So what I'd like you to notice here is a stretch on the inner thigh of this leg that is stretched out. So sometimes if you don't feel it, try to pull the toes in or point the toes away. And you can also angle your toes to the right or left. But you should, as you lean in here, it opens up this inner thigh. So you just want a little gentle stretch there. And let's come on back and pull that right knee up and bring your left leg in so that it's straight in front of you now. Keep the toes pulled in, the back of the leg is still nice and long. And we're going to come into a twist, so you can either leave this foot here on the inside of your leg, or you can cross it over the knee. Yeah, sit up tall, and then hug that knee in with your left hand. The right hand is going to come out, and your fingertips should be about chin level or eye level. You're going to twist to the right, bringing that hand around to the back. You're going to follow it with your eyes and drop that hand down towards the base of your hips. You can lock that right elbow to kind of give your spine a little bit of support there. And you want to look straight out over the shoulder or back a little bit. Keep that breath coming down into the belly. Keep it nice and long and slow, relaxing. These toes are still pulling in, making that bottom leg a little active as we hold this pose for one more breath. And now as you exhale, we're going to release the upper body. Keep your legs as they are. Bring both hands over to the floor on the left and lean into that pose. So I really like the way that this stretches out through my hips on a different angle. Just lean in ever so slightly and release back to the center. Now let's unwind the legs and shake them out. Come back up on those sitting bones, and you're going to open up the the right leg, and fold that left leg in. So turn towards that right leg, sit up tall. Toes are pulling in so the back of the leg feels long. You're going to lean forward with a straight spine until you feel stuck. Then soften, round down over the leg, soften the shoulders, tuck your chin in. Hands again are going to reach down towards your foot or tuck underneath the knee, or really anywhere in between. So this is also a great stretch for the lower back, usually on the opposite side of the leg that you're stretching. So my right leg is out, I'm getting a stretch on the left side of my lower back, the QL muscles, which are always a little tricky to get at. Okay, come on up out of here and leave your legs as they are. We're going to turn over to this bent leg. Bring your both hands down and just lean your upper body towards the leg, looking for that stretch along the inner thigh. Play with the angle of your foot if you'd like there to see if you can get that a little better. And then you can release. We'll pull this leg up and bring in the right leg. So coming into that twist, you want to make sure you're on your sitting bones and the foot can stay on the inside of the knee, or you can cross it over. You're going to hug that knee in with your right hand. The right leg is stretched out and you want to pull the toes in, lengthening through the back of the leg, keeping it active. Left hand is out. And you're going to twist around, following that hand with your head and your upper body, and then drop that hand down. Slide it in towards the base of your spine, and again, lock that elbow if you'd like, looking out or back slightly over the shoulder. And then release here. Bring that all the way back around, and then both hands are going to come over to the floor on the right. And just lean into that side a little bit. Okay, bring it back into the center, unwind the legs, shake them out. And then draw the soles of the feet together. So you're going to let the toes touch, let the knees fall apart, sit up tall, lean in just until you start to feel that stretch. You can soften through the shoulders here and spine. Release back up. Change the position of your feet so you can bring them out further away. Just a couple of inches out will make all of the difference. Sit up tall, lean in again. So just trying to hit on a little bit of a different place there on that hamstring and hip attachment. And then slowly release up, bring the knees together, and we're going to come forward onto our hands and knees. Placing the wrists below the shoulders, knees are below the hips. As you exhale, let's tuck the chin and round through the spine. Inhale, let the belly drop, look forward slightly, reaching the heart away from the tailbone. And exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine. Inhale, let the belly drop, look forward. And then release back to neutral. Let's tuck the toes under on your feet just for a little bit of extra stability here. And you're going to lift your right arm so that it's straight out in front of you and stretch that left leg back, pressing the heel away. You want to try to keep your hips level. So sometimes you can just kind of take that hand that's out in front and just place it on the hips for a moment to make sure that they're feeling okay. One is not pitched up a lot higher than the other. And now let's bring that right arm out to the side and bring the left knee so that it's pulling out to the side as well, closer to the rib cage. Drop that right hand, so both hands are on the mat now, and drop your left knee, kind of center yourself again, and you're going to lift your left hand straight out in front. Press that right foot back away from you, lengthening out through the leg, lengthening out through the arm. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. And then take that left hand, stretch it out to the side. Take your right knee, pull it to the right, keeping it as high as you can. And then drop that left hand and drop the right knee. Now let's just make some circles with your hips. And you want to space your knees, point your toes, and bring your hips back, coming into child's pose. So you can stretch those arms straight ahead of you, or you can stack them together, resting your forehead down on the hands. Now lift your head, stretch those arms out in front again. And walk your hands over to the left. And then lay the head down on that right shoulder if you can, or just down towards that right side. So it's going to help to drop that right shoulder a little bit down towards the ground. And it's going to stretch the right shoulder and through the rib cage on the right side. Now let's walk the hands back into the center and all the way over to the right and rest down. Try to drop that left shoulder. You can lay your head on it for a little bit of extra weight, and it's just opening now through this left, underneath that left shoulder, lengthening out there through the muscles and down alongside the rib cage. Okay, lift your head up and bring it back into the center. And now let's come up back onto the hands and knees again, lining up so that your wrists are below your shoulders. Then tuck the toes in and lift your hips. We're going to come into a downward facing dog. So hips are lifting towards the sky. Just kind of allow the body to drop down, looking back at the feet. Let your head hang down. You can shake it out a little bit, feeling the length through the back of the legs. Your heels don't have to be on the ground. And then you're going to inhale, come forward into a plank pose. Lengthen out through the top of the head, through the heels. Take a breath in, and then exhale, lower the knees down to the ground and shift the hips back a little bit so that your hips are lining up over the knees. Then as you exhale, let's tuck the chin round the spine. Inhale, let the belly drop, looking forward. And then point the toes, bring the hips back for child's pose. Inhale, come up onto the hands and knees again. Exhale, tuck the toes and lift the hips for downward dog. Inhale, come on forward into plank. Exhale, lower the knees. Let your hips shift back a little bit. Inhale, cat facing up, so you're going to drop the belly, look forward. And then exhale, child's pose. Hips coming towards the heels, point the toes. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Now let's come up onto the hands and knees again. You want to have your knees underneath the hips, wrists below the shoulders. Let's stretch this left leg back and pull the toes in. Then you're going to lay your toes down on the ground. And so the toes are pulled in, the heel is back. You want to let your hips shift backwards now, just a little bit to get a stretch through the calf muscle on that left leg. If you don't quite feel it, let's change the angle of the tailbone by tilting the hips down, the tailbone up, or the tailbone to the right or the left. You want to make sure that your arms, your hands are comfortable so you can stay where you are. You can come onto a pillow, or you can drop down onto the elbows. So either one of these poses or positions, just to make that calf stretch a little more comfortable on the upper body. So we're going to change this a little bit. You're going to ease off the tension on that left leg and walk the foot to the right, crossing the center line of the body. Now you're going to walk your hands to the right and look back over that right shoulder. So we're trying to stretch out and lengthen this whole left side of the body. So down through the rib cage, through the outside of the hip and the outside of the leg. So that IT band, which is nice and long and sometimes quite troublesome. What you want to do here to make sure that you're still getting that stretch is that left foot that you've crossed over the side of the body, change the position of the heel a little bit. So tilt it up towards the sky or let it fall to the side and see which one gives a better stretch for the outside of this hip. Okay, come on back into the center with both the hands and the feet. Bringing that knee underneath the hips. Let's just make some slow circles with the hips. And switch direction. And then you're going to switch sides, stretching back the right foot, pull the toes in and lay the toes down on the ground. Let your hips shift backwards, feeling that stretch through the calf muscle. Angle the tailbone to change the stretch, tilting it up or down, tilting it to the right or the left. Make sure that your upper body is comfortable. You can spread the weight out on the fingers, spreading them wide. Try not to compress the wrist into the mat. So that base of the wrist there between the forearm and the wrist should be a little gap. So you kind of shift the weight out onto the fingers. Let's ease the tension up on that right foot and walk it to the left. Cross the center line of the body and then walk the hands to the left. Look back over the shoulder and then angle the top of the heel. So try to draw it up towards the ceiling to maintain that stretch on the IT band, the outside of that right leg and into the hip. Okay, let's draw that back in, drop it underneath the hips, bring your hands back into the center, make some small circles, and then we're going to flip around. We'll come down into onto our backs, actually. And then just hug your knees into your chest and let them rock from side to side. You're going to let your head follow the knees. And let's bring the feet down to the floor with the knees bent. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. Reach out between the legs and draw those legs back in towards the body, grabbing the back of the left leg. And change the angle of that stretch. So as you draw them in, you want to let the legs shift a little bit to the left or the right to see if there is a better stretch for you through the outside of this leg and through the outside of the hip. So just make sure that you are paying attention as you stretch and looking for the best angle. Do a couple of little turns through that left foot just to loosen up the ankle and build those stabilizer muscles up. And then let's release and bring both knees together. Let both legs roll over towards the floor on the left. Your right hip can come off the ground and you can stretch the arms out from the shoulder, look up or away from the knees. Take 2 more beautiful breaths here. And then release your head back to the center. Bring the knees back into the center. And then place the feet on the floor with your knees bent. And across your left ankle over the right knee now. And reach out between the legs. Grab the back of the right thigh and pull those legs in a little bit closer. Again, adjusting the position of the legs, letting them move to the right, to the left a little bit. And then once you're settled in a spot, you can take that right foot and just make some movements through the ankle. Now let's release here. Unwind the legs. Both knees are together. You're going to let them roll towards the floor on the right. The left hip's going to lift off the ground. Stretch your arms out from the shoulders and look up or look away from the knees. And then a couple slow breaths. And then bring your head back into the center. Bring the knees back into the center and let your feet rest on the floor. You're going to press those heels into the floor, press the toes into the floor and lift your hips up. Now lengthen out through the tailbone. So lengthening out through the spine, pushing the hips away from you, and then lower those hips down to the floor again. You're going to stretch your legs out in front. Give your toes a little windshield wiper from side to side. And then just let your feet relax. Tuck your shoulders back underneath so the shoulder blades feel fairly flat on the floor, and you can relax your hands down by your sides. We're going to start our relaxation to just place your head in a nice comfortable position, the back of the neck feeling long, and allow your body to settle down into the ground. Allow it to become heavy and settled. You want to close your eyes. And then starting with your feet, you're going to relax your toes, the arches, and your heels. Relax the calves, your knees, your thighs, and your hips. Relax the muscles in your lower back. All the muscles along the spine. Your shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. Relax your neck, your face, and your head. Relax your eyes, your mouth, and your lips. And then go inside and relax your mind, focusing on the silence inside and the grounded stillness. Slowly draw your awareness back to your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and then stretch your arms overhead. Stretch your feet in the opposite direction, making yourself as tall as possible. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you can release your arms and your legs and roll over onto your side. Slowly making your way up into a seated position, and you can cross your legs in. Bringing your hands to your heart, or you can bring your hands together. Inhale and exhale. Inhale strength. Exhale strength. Inhale patience. Exhale patience. And thank yourself today for taking this time to strengthen your body and strengthen your mind. Namaste. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you guys again soon. Have a lovely weekend.